Move the chains.
Welcome to the end zone. Let's move the chains. Jalen Hurts hasn't been talked about very much in this offseason, and I understand that because there's a lot of quarterback news going around, and a lot of things are happening around the National Football League, and just to be honest, some of the other quarterback storylines are a little bit more interesting than Jalen Hurts, but Jalen Hurts is a player who I think is going under the radar in the offseason and has potential to break out. In this video, the title is that I think Jalen Hurts will be in the NFL for a very long time. So that could go two different ways. It's either he starts, he's on fire for Philly, and he ends up being their quarterback of the future, or things don't go as well, but he kind of just becomes a career backup. So I want to first talk about his potential and how good I think he can be. So the first thing people are going to say, oh, he had one win in his stretch of games with the Philadelphia Eagles. Listen, the Eagles were a bad football team all around. To blame the losses or even to give credit for a singular win, it's really not fair, okay? They weren't that much better without Jalen Hurts, all right? It's not like he had an opportunity to go out there and just ball out because the personnel around him wasn't that great, okay? The Eagles are not a great football team, okay? They just don't have the roster. But Jalen Hurts showed some flashes as a mobile quarterback, being able to extend plays and be explosive. In fact, I think the first play I saw him play in the NFL, or really the first time, I was like, wow, pretty interesting. It was that touchdown against Green Bay, a long fourth down touchdown that he got, kind of basically in mop-up time, but it was still great. That's beside the fact. People who put wins and losses and say that's based totally on the quarterback obviously don't understand football, because it's not totally based off the quarterback. There's a lot of different factors that go into a football game. Yes, he carries a load of that, but that's just not fair and not very accurate. Other than that, yeah, Jalen Hurts doesn't have the greatest passing numbers quite yet, but we're seeing a new offense. I think we're going to see a definite improvement. No games over 60% completion percentage as a starter, but again, we're going to see improvement. We're going to see some better wide receiver play because of the draft and some of the other players. That leads me to talk about kind of what he brings to the table in terms of leadership. This is something that can't be taught. And this is something that a lot of people generalize on a lot of players, but it doesn't necessarily fit or translate. For Jalen Hurts, I think it does, because he's faced adversity, and ever since he was at Alabama, at Oklahoma, you always hear the same thing. This guy is living in the locker room, living in the film room, always working with players outside of practice. He's a leader. People respect him, and people want to play for him. We saw Jalen Reagor come out and say that he's a natural-born leader. And then also, I want to highlight that Greg Ward came out and said some really great things, and he is very confident in Jalen Hurts. A lot of people around the organization in Philadelphia who watch him in practice every day, all the wide receivers, trust Jalen Hurts. They think that he is going to be huge for the Philadelphia Eagles. And I don't think that's a coincidence. I think that they actually see something in practice that we aren't seeing quite yet. And they actually see something in a leader that we don't see quite yet. With a new coach, new system, there's a lot to like about the upside in the future of Jalen Hurts. And coming from Greg Ward, a former college football quarterback, he knows a thing or two about leadership. He had to change positions before landing in the Alliance of American Football, coming to the NFL as a wide receiver. I think Greg Ward's a good guy to have behind your back because he's also faced adversity, had to do things a little bit different to get to the National Football League. Now, say Jalen Hurts does not end up working. He's not the starter. He's not the guy for Philadelphia. The thing about Jalen Hurts and about the trend in the NFL is mobile quarterbacks are becoming more and more prominent. So it makes sense to have a mobile quarterback as your backup quarterback. You see, the Ravens are kind of doing this now with RG3 at the backup. I think they have Trace McSorley. I don't know if he's still there, but teams are starting to get these mobile quarterbacks as their backup quarterbacks. We're starting to see a trend because that's just the way the National Football League is moving. I think that Jalen Hurts, because he's a leader, because, you know, he's a guy who's going to want to learn, he's going to want to be a team player, that is a potential good backup quarterback option for a lot of football teams. I think he would be great for a team like Arizona. Needs a backup quarterback. You can name a lot of teams with mobile quarterbacks where Jalen Hurts would be the fit as a backup if he doesn't end up panning out for the Philadelphia Eagles. So I'd love to know your thoughts down below. I think that Jalen Hurts, whether or not he booms in Philadelphia, has a bright future in the NFL, because people don't understand how hard it is to get into the NFL, and people don't understand how hard it is to stay in the NFL. I think Jalen Hurts, his attributes and what he brings to the table, especially as a leader, can really suit him in a lot of ways, and a lot of coaches might just gravitate towards him as a person, and that might end up being the reason why he gets signed on to a team. He may not be the better talent, kind of like Tim Tebow. Not many people understood why he went to the Jacksonville Jaguars. It's because Urban Meyer loves him. It's because Urban Meyer thinks he's a leader and a hard worker. If people see the same in Jalen Hurts, maybe it's not just part of his playing skills, it's who he is as a person. I'd love to know your opinions. As always, thanks for watching the End Zone. Make sure to like, subscribe, and comment so we can move the chains.